Hey, guys. Welcome to Fireside Chats. Tonight, we are going live with Diana Gladney. But before we hop into all of that, okay, let me introduce myself for those of you that do not know me. My name is Juanita Coley. I am the CEO and founder of Solid Rock Consulting, where we help contact centers implement technology, optimize the technology that they currently have in place, and build better workforce management teams. So we're super passionate about bridging that user adoption gap between the technology and companies' operations. So that's what we do. We're super ninjas at it. And that's what get my blood pumping, right? So we also are super passionate about normalizing women in tech. And we host a show called Call Center Chronicles, right? So on Call Center Chronicles, we're talking about all things call center experiences, the technology, the people that power the contact centers, the people that call into contact centers, right? So we're talking everything customer experience, agent engagement, all of those good things. And so we are going into season 2. Okay, so if you did not catch season 1, I highly suggest that you do that. Okay, because it was just, it was this level of good. Okay, it was this level of good. And so I highly recommend that you go back and catch season 1. We had Varen on, we had Microsoft on, we had NASA on. I mean, like, we was hitting on all cylinders. Okay, and so I'm super excited about season 2. But as I was thinking about Call Center Chronicles and the experience that we wanted, again, talking through customer experiences, how do we drive customer experience to, be better? How do we normalize women in technology so that we're getting a more diverse engagement and more diverse experiences that help drive those experiences? I began to think about, hey, this show is at 11, it starts at 12 o'clock, is every Tuesday at 12 p.m. And many of the shows ran over, and we would be in the green room after the show hours, like just still having good conversation with some of the guests. So I was like, you know what? I can't be sending people back to work all hot like this. So I got to have a fireside chat. So that's actually how Fireside Chats became a thing. Is I was like, we got to have some more of this good conversation, maybe after hours. So, people don't have to go back to work with their brain just tingling, just, on 10 like that. So that's actually how Fireside Chats became a thing. So, I want to acknowledge everybody that's in the audience. Thank you so much for tuning in with us tonight. Again, like I said, we have Diana Gladney, and I'm going to let her introduce herself in a moment. So I'm super excited about this episode. If you are catching the replay, okay, my replay squad, make sure that you leave us a comment, engage with us, because I do like to go back through the comments, read, see what y'all talking about. If you're here now live, leave me a comment. Let me know you here so we can, it's 7 o'clock and I got my hair done, I got my makeup. I'm not scaring the folks tonight. So, engage with me. Talk with me on tonight. All right. So replay squad, make sure you leave me a comment. Okay. And then also make sure you subscribe. So if you are watching us on LinkedIn, I can't see your comments. I'm just going to let you know that right now. I can't see your comments. Okay. But you can come over to YouTube and then I'll be able to see your comments. So go over to our YouTube channel, Solid Rock Consulting. And then again, I forgot where else we broadcasting. Oh, Facebook. So LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, we're in all of those places. I believe we're showing on Instagram as well. Okay. Bear with me, people. Okay. But if you go over to YouTube, you can see us and I can see your comments. If you're on Facebook, I should be able to see your comments as well. So say something in the chat so I know you're here and that I know you can also hear me. So without further ado, okay, let me introduce to you guys Diana Gladney. Okay, so Diana Gladney is content marketing expert, genius. Okay, genius. Okay, I'm gonna say that second time. Jesus, like that. You got to see it's official when you put a little sing on it. Okay, so I wanted to talk to Diana because she helps women, she helps people get involved in technology and start to do a lot more with their content and their marketing and video, audio. And so I wanted to talk to Diana because I think there is something there for us to discover and learn, even in the contact center arena. So without further ado, I am going to welcome you, Diana, as soon as I can figure out which button to press. Okay, there we go. How you doing, Diana?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks so much for having me. I'm super honored to be here.
Good. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm super excited to have you too. I had to, do a few push-ups before you came on. I was like, let me get my life together.
Get on swole real quick.
Yeah, you got to come on up. I got to come up. I got Diana on the live tonight. I said, let me get my life together because Diana, she gonna give it to us raw. Okay. So I had to get my life together. But so tell the people what you do. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, for those that are out, listening in LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube land.
Yeah, 100%. So my name is Diana Gladney. I'm native out of St. Louis, Missouri, and I help entrepreneurs simplify the video creation process. So whether that is getting more familiar with the tech side of things and things like your camera, whether you're documenting your process for your business or trying to gain more customers and clients with being online, whether that's Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, or what have you. And that can also be understanding the YouTube strategy side of things. I believe there are a lot of different forms and mediums for communication. I just believe video is the best way to communicate and break some of those barriers faster than some of the other arenas. So I just think that if you are online, you also need to be creating video content to reach wider and connect deeper with your people that need you the most. And video is just the best way to do that.
You're already coming out. See, Let's get into the show. Let's just get on up in here. Let's check off my checklist. Make sure I did everything because my production team, they be like, first of all, what you didn't do is, and then I know you gonna give it to me like, so sis, what you didn't do was, so you said something key like, you help with the video and the audio and you think video is the best way. Why do you say that? Why do you think video is the best way to get your message and content out?
Because it removes a lot of the imaginations when it comes to like the human connection between people. And so much of connecting, yes, it's multiple layers and dealing with the senses, the seeing, the hearing, the feeling, the thinking, all this other stuff. But with video, you see the weird quirks. So when you make the pauses and you're like, well, it's kind of, if they were just listening to it, they didn't see me do the hand thing and the face squinch, and they may look at it. I said squinch. I don't even know if that's a word, but it is now.
Well, it's a word today.
Okay, it's added to the DG dictionary. But they didn't see like that. And so they may see that little quirk of me when I'm like, yeah, no. They hear that in a podcast or on the radio or what have you, but they don't see that. When they see that, yeah, no, and they see me do that, they say, I do the same thing. Even if they don't audibly say it or throw it in the chat or something like that, they'll see that. And that's a connection point. And so when it comes to video content, the video content is like something that can really break the barriers because yes, in a podcast, they listen to you, there's a one-on-one connection, but something like this, a live stream is as close that we can get to belly, one-to-one in-person human interaction. And audio is great and written is great, but video is all of it together.
That's good. So, my mind be like,
go for it. Go for it.
So I do contact center consulting, right? Helping companies implement the technology and optimize the technology they have in place, building better workforce team, blah, 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 right? And so a lot of that, we talk about the different channels. So you used to have this old terminology of call center versus contact center. And the difference between the two is one is just that one channel, right? When we talk about call center, it's just phone. Right, voice versus with a contact center, you have multiple channels where there is voice, email, chat, video, social, whatever the case may be. And I wonder if with the evolution of technology, right, and in your case, video and all of those different things being able to connect better, does that drive customer experience?
Oh, absolutely. Because here's where a lot of companies miss it. They'll see a platform and how it's kind of being implemented, but they can't see themselves implemented or the how. So if I had a contact center and the purpose of even like the terminology changed, because that was like some of my first jobs was working in a, customer service department, whether that would be in the online chat for online banking is the area that I worked in. And so whether it's the online banking or in the chat, or it's the written, or it's just taking calls, if I had a contact center, I would be on TikTok. And I would make it so that I allow my customers and not even my customers, but I would allow the staff to make videos. So have like a dedicated TikTok space or a creation space where you'll see maybe I would even play on the things that would happen, which is when when somebody is falling asleep, or dozing off, just the human elements, or the part where somebody is laughing, because they tell you the calls may be monitored or recorded for training and whatever purposes. I would add in on that little bit there that may be used in social media or whatever the legal jargon would be necessary, that this may be public, a part that's not of your account, but just like, you know what, you made me feel so much better today. I just was having a bad day and I'm glad I called. Little segments. I would take segments and use that, but I will also show the staff so that you can see a face to the voices that you call into, so people feel more comfortable calling us.
That's good. Like, no, real talk. Like, that's some good stuff, because think about it. When you have these different channels, right, in contact centers, you have voice, certain things, again, like you said, I can't see that, you did the twitch with your eye, so you was really lying and you really didn't know the information that you had gave me. So, I can't see that as a customer. I can just only kind of listen to the tone and how you said it and all of those different things. Now you add in social, or you add in video. Like, I'm thinking about some of these colleges during the pandemic, their admissions department went on, they started doing video. So now I can talk with my admissions or my counselor via video without ever going into the office. That's not a phone call. That's not an email. That's not a chat. They're leveraging Zoom, or some of them are leveraging Zoom to do video type of consultations, where I can be able to get what I need as a student from my academic advisor. And that just changes the whole narrative of how I'm engaging with you as a customer, because in that instance, the student is the customer of the, higher education facility, university. So video really helps with the customer experience from I can touch you, I can feel you type of thing, and I can engage with you on a more intimate level, is what I'm hearing you saying.
Absolutely. Because there's already companies doing, like, they are not. And that's the thing. A lot of people, we're going to be the first ones. No, you may be the first one specifically in your niche, but you wouldn't be the first one overall. You got companies like Dairy Queen. You have companies like Disney, the Disney Corporation, when you're going to the parks and whatnot. They already have that baked in. So you can show what's going on in the back when somebody accidentally slips. And it's just like, so not that you don't know it's safety precautions or whatever, but it's just, again, introducing the human element, or here's how we make your favorite DQ Blizzard when we do this. And it's only a 30-second deal. Or it's like, here's something secretive that you didn't know was hidden at the Disney park over here in this area when you go to this park and whatever. Like, they're giving you the experience before you actually have the experience. So if you're doing something like that, like an admissions counselor, we think like, I don't know what they're going to say. They may have an attitude or blah, 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 blah. And that may not be the case. So you connect more when you can see them, or even just see something that's going on. It's like, oh, you also love the Vikings for such and such game. Or it's just like, yeah, I love that team. Connection point.
Yeah, that's good, man. We literally could stay right there, but we gonna move on. But that's really good. I think, when we think about, because I'm always talking to contact centers, and we're always, I actually have a webinar that's coming up where we're talking about customer interactions 101, and we're talking about how you move from just voice, right, to social media and video and all of these different things. And I think that really drives that customer experience, because again, customers can be out of pocket sometimes when they hit to see that video. Then they like, oh, okay, now we out of our nine, so don't let's. Okay. Anyway,
I mean, even taking some of so here's another thing. It may not even just only that. One of the things you have to think outside of the shoes of the business. You have to think in the shoes of the consumer. One thing that everybody and their mother complains about is they can't get through the automated messaging system right the first time to get to where they need to, or because we all got some kind of little twang in our voice, it doesn't understand when I say something and it's a little country and they don't understand that.
You mean speech analytics ain't caught up the country yet?
Yeah. It's like they don't understand being a little country. But if you just did quick TikTok videos, here's how you could get to customer service for accounting about bill pay in 15 seconds. And you show first hit 0, then hit 2, then hit 3. If you can remember 0, 2, 3, it'll get you there every single time. And it literally could just be that.
That's it. I got to steal that. You giving me all kinds of consulting.
Go for it.
Hold on, let me write that down. 5 minutes, forgot. That's a good one. I think that's a very valuable thing, right? Like if you are, because that's a big complaint, right, from consumers. And when you're creating your IVR, right, you're wanting to guide them through a particular process. Right. And if we're creating those TikTok, those short TikTok videos to say, hey, you want to reach marketing, or hey, you want to reach bill pay, or hey, you want to reach whomever, right? The short code to that is 3, 2, 1. Right. Yep. So now as a consumer, I don't have to listen to this whole long IVR stuff that does not apply to me. Only thing that I can see where I can see that kind of backfiring, right, is when you change the IVR. Now I got to change the video, right? Which your video should be a living, breathing thing anyway, right? You should be constantly doing content, right?
Exactly, because your content can move faster than that IVR system can, or any procedures or whatever. And
stepping on toes now.
Who a lot of people, when you're in a specific niche, you mimic who's in your niche instead of maybe sometimes getting outside the box. The best IVR systems I've ever experienced, no matter what city I was living in, is the grocery store. And they change their stuff often because they rearrange the store when it's seasonal. So if you look at an industry like the supermarket, they are always having to push whatever is prominent in the store up front to the close to the store. They're always having certain things in the advertising or whatever. It's no different than in a contact center experience. You have certain marketing things that are going out every month or whatever, certain promotions. Okay, well, they have to change their system all the time. And they got Susan who call in and press 0 and she's doing it herself. But the simplicity in getting it done, we've recently changed our menus. If you love going to the what's the name of center, because they know so many people press this button over the last 6 months, make that first. It's just good. Like, so it just, that's a market that I think is like, pay attention to what works. And if you want more options, press 9, kind of a deal.
Sis, I think you might have missed your calling, though. I've been
delivered. I've been delivered. That was the worst job ever. I was horrible in customer service because
talk about it.
Because I just didn't like talking to people. That's not my thing. Like in the way that, because most companies, I won't say I didn't like talking to people. There is an element there that is true, but I did not like under the auspices that I had to do it according to their rule book. When I break their rule book, I can connect with them better. Why ask about the weather when you know it's super generic? I would always say, it says you from New York on your account, but you sound like you from Mobile, Alabama. God, yeah, I'm from such and such. They don't want you to use stuff like that in some businesses, depending. But it's just like, at the same time, though, it's like, why would I ask her about the weather when there's something that I actually am familiar with that I can use to actually connect with her? And then I can say, oh, you know about such and such barbecue. Good. Yeah. This, that, or whatever. And so, it's like, or the handle times. And so they would say, well, you got to cut that conversation off. I'm building a stronger brand by building a stronger connection to the point that people would say, I only want to talk to this person. They'd be like, well, you can't just request anybody can help you. They like, no, I want to talk to this person because of relationships that I built with people.
Yeah.
But it will be hard to work in the way that I found to work best, because you have these strict requirements and stuff like that, versus like doing stuff that actually is, personable with people. So I didn't like it because it's always like the customer is always right. It's like, no, but if you teach them the things and, kind of more or less train your customers on how to best be served when they call in, you don't have to have an attitude. If you want to have this such and such, you can just call and ask specifically to speak to this department versus blowing a hole in the person's ear that is in customer service for 10 minutes because somebody told you if you complain long enough, then they'll eventually transfer you versus using this specific verbiage that automatically lets them know what you're trying to do. And so thankfully I was able to get some policies changed and stuff like that, working in banking and all of that, but that wasn't my calling. I was delivered. So
not you was delivered. Right. But no, that's even a good point too. Like, I think it takes a certain type of personality, certain type of, and then also I think the industry has come a long way as well. Mm-hmm. Like, they're implementing all types of things, while we are just as focused on customer experience, we're also now focusing on things like agent experience. Like,
true.
How is it working here? And one of the prior episodes in last season, someone said, and I don't remember who it is now, but they're going to kill me. But someone said, an agent will never treat your customer better than they're being treated. Right. So we have to focus on agent experience, right? Like, how is it to actually work here? Which is why I think, Chick-fil-A is so dope, right? These people running you down for them fries, huh? That Polynesian sauce, they running you down.
Listen, hallelujah.
They running you down for. You left that Polynesian sauce, they running you down.
You need two more. You need another one.
Right.
I'll throw some more in the back. It's just exactly.
But because they're being treated good. So I think when we translate that over to call centers, right? We have to be just as focused on agent experience as we are on the customer experience, because I think the agent experience, the customer experience is going to be super dope as a byproduct of agent experience, right? Like 100%. If agents love doing what they do and they're working in their zone, they're working in their genius, like you said, you focus so much on handle time that I can't even really build rapport, which if I built rapport, then they probably would have bought another product.
Yep.
100%. But because 100%. You're focused on the metric and not necessarily making sure that I'm operating in my genius. And as a result of me operating in my genius, I'm building great customer rapport, and it's a great customer experience, which means I'm driving the bottom line for your company.
100%.
That whole part. But
yep.
I told you, I be having some questions, but then it go all the way. I'm gonna come back over this way. Okay. So the other question that I had for you is, what made you start doing, like, you wake up again, you said you were in customer service and things like that. What made you say, there's a video issue, I need to be out here helping save video lives?
Well, funny fact, this was not my idea. So I worked in banking. I worked in banking for over a decade. However, when it wasn't until I actually had some challenges, I got really sick and just had the most incredible pain I've ever experienced for 16 months straight, nonstop. Wound up having to have emergency surgery only to learn that I had stage 4 endometriosis, some other complications and things like that. And I literally almost died. I could have, but I literally almost died. And so because of that, when I woke back up and I'm going back to work still too soon, but out of PTO and all this extra other stuff, then I had a lot of time to think, and I just didn't want to die being said I was a good coworker. I made some good peach cobblers, or man, your show was funny, or it was nothing. I felt it would be nothing to be said. And I had a problem with that. So personally, I spent some time in prayer and just what am I really supposed to do? And so for me, I felt like God was saying, do video. Okay. I know for me personally, God is telling me something because it ain't nothing I want to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no,
I was going this way, Lord.
You sure about that? So that's how, I was just and that's all it was do video. And I'm like, okay, so I had to, understand, I want to also have a business to where I can eventually quit, because the time is going to pass anyway, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And I figured, why not explore some purposeful work? You know what I'm saying? I can do good work at a job and be a good blessing to people, but I want to do purposeful work ultimately in life. So because of that, I started exploring, like, how can I take what I know and start turning that into a business? So I did small business consulting just to kind of help people start up their corporation. That led me to a coach because I was like, I suck at selling. I need to figure how to reframe my thinking around this. And I found him on YouTube. He had a ton of videos. And so day one working with him, he was like, you need to do video. So it wasn't anything that I wanted to do. I really kind of didn't want to, but I didn't hire my coach for me to remain the same that I had been. So I just said yes. And every new problem that I ran into was something that was not clearly explained well for a person in my shoes. I have a business. I understand that I need to do video. I am not trying to become a videographer or an editor or whatever. Yes, I learned and fell in love and uncovered a passion that I had, but that may not be for everybody. You just need enough to do your show. And there was nobody doing that. So that's how I was like, well, if I can figure it out and I can help teach somebody how to not go through 12 different YouTube videos to figure out something that literally is 2 minutes, I'll just make the video. I need to make videos anyway. And my audience loved it more than the other stuff. And so I loved it more than the other stuff. And it just kind of became a passion that just bloomed on its own.
Wow. That kind of reminds me kind of my journey with call center consulting, right? Like, who wakes up and like, oh, I want to consult call centers. Like, that's not I don't even think that's a thing, right? I remember working at United Healthcare, and that's what I did at United Healthcare as I built out their workforce management teams and did workforce management and all that good stuff. And I was just so intrigued with, like the process of it all, like the forecasting and the planning and the execution of the forecast and the schedules and all of that. And I really kind of related that to how people start their businesses and even just everyday life situations. And so I really was bit by the workforce bug. And then, I was like, so I think you should help companies do this. I'm like, that's not the Lord. That's got to be the devil. I love my corporate job. Okay. I love what I do here, So it's, similar story. And, but I love it. I love talking to companies that are looking for technology, that are building out their workforce management teams. And, they got this awesome piece of technology and they're like, but we're not getting results. It's like, you're not putting gas in it, right? It's like, it doesn't matter if you have a Ferrari, you got to
take gas.
Yeah. You got to put the gas. You got to know how to drive, right? So really bridging that gap between the technology and then their operations is really what I absolutely love and found a passion in doing. So you said something though that made me think. You said that you started to look at different YouTube videos and things weren't really being explained well. So you was like, well, if I can explain this well, and that's the content that you started producing. Are you seeing that more and more women are gravitating to technology and video content? And like, what is that gap there?
It's a huge gap because there was zero people that look like me. I mean, zero people that look like me. And so when you look at the technological space, it's predominantly, dominated by, it's like, I don't know, like age demographics per se, but it's, predominantly white males. It just is what it is. And I didn't even really see any Black males in that sense from a videography standpoint of content creation, explaining YouTube content. And so it wasn't, my first thought honestly wasn't even about demographics. It was more so about the clarity in somebody understanding a pain point like I had. And so I felt like I was always like a good teacher. And I feel like women in general are good educators because we teach and train children, our nieces and nephews. We're the communicators in any kind of historically familial role period. And so leveraging just kind of what's already on the inside of you. I always felt like I was a good teacher. That's something I even wanted to do and would do plenty of times when I worked for different companies. I would get involved and I would set up the new processes, make it more efficient and all those different things because I could communicate with the people that people hate. And it's like, how are you there, friend? It's like, because I can communicate with other people.
Right.
Y'all may not like each other, but I can work with both of y'all so we can get the job done. So, I just decided that I was going to be the answer that I wish I would have seen or found for the space and the niche that I'm in for entrepreneurs that are getting into content creation, just because it was a need. It wasn't even because I didn't see anybody. It just was a need.
That's good. And it just so happened that you were African-American female,
Yeah.
So yeah.
It has meant these last 18 months has exposed even to me how much that means to other people. I got a tremendous amount of comments last year about somebody was super happy to find someone that looks like them. And I think it goes to speaking to the obedience of your purpose. You are sometimes required to show up in something that in the moment can be uncomfortable for you, but it's absolutely necessary for someone else's journey. And we don't see that. And that really hit me last year when I started getting a bunch of comments like that is a Black female in tech and she got dreads. It ain't, it's like it threw people off. So, and then
the dreads hit different.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be a Black woman in tech and you got blonde hair, But it was another to be a Black woman in tech and you busting out with dreads, Diana. Let's just keep it above.
Here's the thing though. February 2019, I shocked everybody at my job. I walked in with a shaved head when the night before I came in, I had a perm, had the slick back. So
not the slick back.
Had the slick back. So I came in the next day and it was like, it's February, so it's kind of cold here still in St. Louis. And I took my skull cap off and everybody was like,
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Revolution will not be televised. And so, but it was just, I had gotten to the point that I felt like, and at that point I had made videos for like 3.5 or something years at that point. And so I just wanted to be able to show an accurate representation fully at that point for who I am, because I really recognize I don't belong here and I'm putting on a facade. There's nothing wrong with a relaxer or any kind of hair that you want. I just knew that I wanted to be an authentic representation of who I felt I am. And I've always wanted dreads, but I didn't feel like that was acceptable in the corporate space. And I just was like, once I decided, and it literally was a question. One of my friends had a natural hair, her curls beautiful. And I was like, man, your hair looks beautiful. I wish I could, where she's like, why don't you? And I was like, I had recognized that a belief system that I had in 2016 was no longer the belief system that I had in 2019. And it literally only took that question that she asked me.
You about to walk heavy. I feel
make
it.
A decision. Yeah,
you about to walk real heavy. You about to walk real heavy now. I already warned the audience, don't come in here sensitive, okay? Don't come in. This is not 11 a.m., okay? This is after hours, okay?
After hours, okay? It put my belief system into question about a lot of things, and I wanted to be the most authentic version of myself. I don't wear a ton of jewelry. I'm a nerd. You're going to see me with the book before you see me with a new jewelry set or something, and there's nothing wrong with either, but I just did not want to put on any kind of corporate facade. And I'm like, if I'm going to come to YouTube, I want to come as myself. And again, the being obedient to the things that you should do for you, you don't know how much that's going to mean to other people. And so I'm glad that I did what I did. But yeah, I came in, head shaved day, was like, do we need to have a meeting? Are you okay? Are you going through? And I'm like,
we got a mental counselor on deck if you need to see somebody.
Exactly. If you need to take a few corporate days, they're available to you. But no, I just wanted to, I didn't want to allow my own limiting beliefs to limit anything of what I should be doing or going towards in the future. And so that was like, my hair was a process of that as well.
That's crazy. That's crazy that because I was on a prior show, I was talking about DE&I, right? So I think corporations, they get the D part, they even get the E part, so diversity, equity. But when it comes to inclusion, that's a different conversation, right? Because if I can't be comfortable showing up in my dreads, then we really don't got D, E, and I, right? We probably got D because I'm here, right?
Yeah, I got the job.
Right, I got the job. But when I walk in, you know, or my input isn't taken or whatever the case, because I have dreads, all right? Because I don't fit the corporate look or whatever that look should be, right? So I think that is one of the things that I'm always interested in is the D, E, and the I, right? Is how do we, you know, include and make people feel like they're still valuable even with the dreads.
Yeah,
right?
100%. I think it's so much about what you put out as well, because sometimes when people are making those kinds of decisions in a corporate workspace, they are waiting for somebody else's external validation. I didn't ask nobody for nothing. I already decided like a year prior, I'm done playing the corporate game. And so whereas I would participate and I would get tons of offers from other departments to come and help and like, hey, there's a new project coming available. You know, are you available kind of a deal? It's like, yes, or I would be requested to be on certain things or I would sign up for it. And it just got to a point I was like, you know what? I don't belong here. And I fully recognize that on the inside. I don't have a plan for what's next, but I know it ain't here. And I'm just like, I'm not playing that game anymore. Yeah. So my hair was like the last straw of me being me, because I was like, I'm not even doing this for me. You know, I hated the whole relaxer process personally. But and I understand that there's a such thing as company culture, but your hair has really nothing to do, or a type of hairstyle has nothing to do so much so with the company culture. Because if you accept my ideas, can you accept my identity? You know?
Listen, you can accept them ideas, but can you accept my identity? That's a quotable. That's a quotable. Okay? That's a quotable. Accept my, you know, man, anywho, what's the biggest challenge? Diana finna get me in trouble. Yeah, I ain't gonna have no clients fooling around with Diana.
Like, you know what, I did like this show.
Yeah, you were doing good with Call Center Chronicles, but then you had to bust out with Fireside, you know. Anywho, what's the biggest challenge though that you see with women doing content, technology, their level of comfort? Well, like, what is that biggest challenge and barrier that you're constantly seeing that you're having to break?
I see a lot of women running into the limiting belief that being a woman is the problem. Like, that's the problem. It ain't, you know what I'm saying? Because they feel like and I had these same initial thoughts. Is it because I'm a woman that now I have to wear these super flowery blouses that, you know, for me personally, everything don't look like right on everybody. If I put on I'm gonna look like somebody off Mama's Family or something, you know what I'm saying? Thelma Louise looking, it ain't gonna come across right. You can't mix nerd and flowers and blouses. It don't work well. So it's like, being a woman. Do I have to wear earrings? Do I have to wear makeup? Do I have to wear any of these things? Do I have to wait until there is a certain type of presence that they feel is presentable before I present myself? And the answer to that is no. But that is a huge problem, because literally in anywhere else, in the corporate space, that is an issue. You can't go to work any kind of way. And I get that, dress codes and all what have you. And it makes sense. But when it comes to now creating the content and being on YouTube and in the creator space, you know, that's a huge problem. So it's not even like other factors of like introducing yourself into a male dominated industry. I've never had any of the men, and I'm in a very heavily dominated field by men. Not one of them has ever had a problem with me being on their show or whatever. Never been like what we call mansplaining, or I've never experienced any of that. I'm a little bit of a dominant female and present, if you will, to a certain extent. I wouldn't accept that anyway, but I've never actually had to have a conversation with any of them. So I've not even found where the men that are dominating, and they're very welcoming. They're just waiting for you to show up. But if you can't get past that mental barrier of thinking that because I am a woman, these things are now a challenge for me, it's really not. I think it's more or less about showing up, doing the work, and presenting yourself as is. I rock t-shirts. I wear, you know, these little studs in the earrings. You're going to see a ring that my mama gave me. You're going to see an Apple Watch, and that's about it. That's about it. I'm used to some chapstick and some lotion. That's the best I can do. You can show up as you. And I think that's the problem that most women don't see and connect with. And it takes creating content before they say, you know what? I want to do it this way.
Yeah.
And then they show up as themselves.
That's good, because that is actually one of the things that I struggle with. And it's not necessarily the point of being a woman in tech. It's more so of being, I guess, together. Like, like I feel like you got to look a certain way. You have to do a certain thing. You have to articulate a certain way. You have to speak a certain way. And I don't know if that's because I've just been groomed in corporate, right? So a part of it, I feel like it's just naturally what I've been groomed in, who I am. And then the other part is like, if I were to not be blonde today, which this is how I normally wear my hair anyway, but if I wasn't, if I came in here with my poetic justice braids, right? Like it may be a problem. Like you may not take me as seriously, and I wonder if that is just a mental block or if that is a real thing. I don't know, because I've never explored that territory. It's like in my head, I'm always, okay, make sure when you show up to this meeting, you this, you that, and you together, because your check is attached to that.
I think it's a certain line. I do think it is something there. I just don't think it may be at times as much as we think it is. There is something, again, when it comes to company or culture, reading the room and showing up. It's like showing up to a black tie event in gym shorts and a t-shirt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, so it is a line there. And there are things, and I think sometimes people get it misconstrued at times, where it's like, well, I should be able to show up however I want to. And it's like, this isn't the place or the time for that or event for it. This is not how this is being presented in a certain way. Whereas other arenas, it is, or certain times or whatever. And I think that also becomes molding and chipping at the hard edges and fining down and refining some different things to best connect for your best interest, and the sponsor and the audience member does sometimes require a different type of thing. So there are some environments where it is okay for me to be lazy in language, and I can say her hair fell down the stairs over there. You know what I'm saying? Full St. Louis twang on 1,000. In other arenas, for me to best communicate so that they understand is her hair fell down the stairs over there, and whatever, you know what I'm saying, kind of a thing, so that they can hear me. And I attribute that not to so much so like putting on a mask or anything like that, but it is speaking the audience's language. It's no different than if we put an environment where they spoke Japanese. Right. I need to alter the language and alter how I'm saying certain pronunciation of words or vowels or whatever, so that I best communicate with that person that speaks another language. And so I think that anything past that, you can probably, you know what I'm saying, pull back on. But I think for the most part, sometimes we overdo it, thinking like, it just, that's at least my belief around it.
Yeah, that's super gold right there. Like it's that line. Right. It's that line between being appropriate and just not being understood. So you're not included. Right. Like, again, like you said, if we're showing up to a black tie event, why are you in here in a bathing suit, love? Like, that's not what we're doing. That's not the episode we on right now, So so I think it's that fine line between being appropriate and then, again, knowing that I am at the beach, so I can wear a two-piece, I can wear a bikini, I can wear whatever I want to wear in this environment, because that's where I'm at, right?
Yep, right. Yeah, and again, it's just like and here's the thing, it's like it's the reason most people say, well, why I got to do all this? For the purpose of achieving the purpose for why the event is set. If we're throwing a house party for everybody to come to the barbecue and for us to get to know each other better, the reason why you dress down is so that you're more approachable, so that you're more comfortable. The reason why if you go to a black tie event, there's a certain culture that's developed is so that you can understand that I now have a right to talk to you about branding and marketing strategy. And I can ask you the more detailed questions that maybe I shouldn't at the barbecue. Like, what were the analytics for the call rate for the IVR that came in for last week? Like, what do you think that those numbers and metrics mean when it comes to what we're trying to do with our budget for the fall season of 2021? I can ask you that question at the black tie. Right. I don't need to ask you that at the barbecue.
With a mouthful of
it's
chicken.
The reason. Yeah, exactly. And barbecue sauce around the side of your mouth.
What did you do?
Shoot. Plate piled mile high. Right. Macaroni. Ain't left no macaroni for nobody else.
Nobody. And you come over here
this
talking
my mama
about
macaroni and cheese. I ain't, hey, I invited you, but I ain't say you're going to get none of this.
Hey, you just show up, okay?
Okay, come. Hope you see some. Hope you get some. That's what the invitation gonna say.
Come and I hope you get some. Yeah. Listen, one of the other questions I'm super interested to hear your answer to is, I guess I think there is this myth, right, that because you're in tech, you're all things tech. Like if you say you're in tech, boy, they expect you to be coding. They expect you to know how to hack the IRS. Like they it's like, oh, you do tech? Yeah. Can you fix my computer? Like I don't do that kind of tech though. Well, do you do that? No, I don't do that either. Well, can you do this? No, I don't do that. That's not what I do. Well, what do you do? And so I think there's this big miseducation around people being in tech, women being in tech, and being all things, there's so many layers to tech, right? There are tech sales, there's training and development, project management. It's so many layers, video, audio, so many different layers to technology. And then when we even talk even deeper to that, you have tech hardware and then we have tech software, right? And I don't think people get the difference between the two. Hardware being, this microphone, the camera, equipment, right? And then we have software like eCam or QuickBooks, software as a service or different things like that, right? So do you feel that people gravitate and women have a challenge with one versus the other? Like, and I'm going to talk about me, right? When it comes to hardware, we have this Apple TV at home. So like this is Fireside app, chats, right? So we got this Apple TV. I can't work the thing. Like, right? Like I call my husband every time, like, babe, can you figure out, I'm trying to watch TV, which is very rare. That's probably why I still can't figure out how to work the thing.
Right.
But when it comes to hardware, I be lost. Now give me some software and I'm all there, like I'm in there, right? Do you think that is like, why is that?
I think sometimes, again, I think it goes back to some of the belief systems around like being a woman in tech. It's like you feel like you need to be all things to all people. So you'll try to make yourself try to figure out stuff that you ain't got no business doing with versus accepting like no is an acceptable answer. It is as acceptable and pleasing as a yes. Yeah. The person on the other end may want you to say the whatever, but no, it's just like no is an acceptable answer. But because I tell people no all the time for a lot of different things. They think because I do X, Y, and Z within the video space, well, surely you can do. There's a potential that I could, but just because I can do something don't mean I should. And I may just not want to. So no is an acceptable answer. The more that you identify and have clarity in your niche, the more that people stop not even stop asking it, but understanding that when they ask, it's a potential for a no because they are clear, because you're clear in your messaging that you may not do that. So I just think it's just like being okay with saying, I don't do that. Like I don't work with nonprofits because you got to work with a board and the board has to make decisions. Generally, it's a very fine line if I say a yes to that. But generally, man, most of the time I have no problem with saying, no, I don't work with nonprofit organizations because you have too many different types of individuals trying to make decisions on things when the target audience maybe of who you're trying to reach ain't in the room. You don't have no young people or older people or the whomever you're trying to reach in the room on the board. Is too one-sided. So you're not going to see whatever I would explain to you in the way that I would need you to. So I just think for women, if they're trying to like break into a space, having a niche, defining it, being clear that is the who you serve, like my coach would say, who are you helping with what specifically? If you can fill in the gaps for that and constantly reiterate that to where other people are able to say that and know that's what you do, then at that point, you know that when other people can say what you do and who you are, then you know you have extreme clarity. But until then, it's just like, that's why I would say I help entrepreneurs simplify the video creation process. I'm telling you the who I'm helping with what specifically, so that as other people learn, they're like, oh, you know, Diana, yeah, she helped me with my whatever. Enough for them to get going, not to become a videographer, you know? So just be defined and being okay with saying no. I think if more women did that, then they could break in for some of these niches and just be okay with saying no and let them find somebody else, because it's of service to the other person to actually find the right person and hire you for the right thing so it don't piss you off.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good, because I find that that's what I do, right? Like when it comes to hardware, like don't ask me put no cords together. That's not me. That's not what I do. But now you give me a program, a piece of software, and I'm in there, right? And I think when it comes to creating content, that has been my challenge. And it has also been where I see that I say, you know, I need help in, you know, like, so I'll employ help real quick when it comes to that. Like, hey, I need a camera. Hey, I need a microphone. Hey, I need this, and I need you to set it up as well. Yeah. But when it comes to
service to you. It's of service to you to let them do that. Because you know what? That's not your zone of genius is doing the show, doing the software, the things that are actually of interest to you or whatever. Their zone of genius, let them have the most fun of their life plugging them cables and this, that, and whatever, and ordering what they need to from Amazon. Right. Ain't none of your business.
That's not my business. You hear that?
None of your business.
Because I know you're watching on the replay. That's not my business. You heard Diana say it here first. Okay. That's not my business. What cable go where? That's not my business.
Not that I didn't sign up for that class. Okay. But that's the thing. It's like, so, and I think that's just about being okay with being you in certain arenas. Just because you can do something don't mean you should. Yeah, you could spend the next 6 months figuring out the what wins, or you could just hire somebody to hurry up and do it and get back to the business of why you in business.
Get back to the business of why you in business. Yeah, because you're doing all the sidebar stuff. Yeah, you're doing all the sidebar stuff. You want me to figure out what chord go in. You talking about an AV, CD, EFG. I don't know. I don't know.
And your ministry in life. It's the reason why we love specialists. We hate generalists. We love specialists. When people start identifying their specific restaurant, oh, that's my such and such, whatever local joint, or that's my Pepsi or my Coca-Cola or the whatever. When they throw that my in front of there's some specialist type. It's a certain formula that goes into why they love that one specific thing. The more that people just get in their lane and like stay focused. That's why you need a pilot to really be into being a pilot. I don't need you to want to drive a Greyhound tomorrow. I need you to understand all of these aeronautical tools.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want you.
I don't need you focused on nothing else when you're driving this here plane, huh? Please. I don't need you knowing how to do no taxes. I don't need you knowing how to work no muscles. I need you to know how to drive this plane. Huh?
Amen. Okay. I need you to, and it's no different than whatever your role is, get very proficient in that thing and be fine with being a specialist. That's why I like specialists in like the medical field. You want the who's the best specialist for this procedure? Because I don't want somebody that kind of studied it when they ain't seen it in the last 4 years. So they ain't no, get me somebody that's in the field every day.
Every day.
Like, you're supposed to replace an elbow and they didn't put a kneecap on. Now you wondering why you walking around ain't quite looking right, you know?
What'd you say? You got a knee for an elbow.
Yeah, it's look okay. It's just like, you ain't built for all that. Just listen, get a specialist. Be a specialist, not a generalist.
I'm not playing with you tonight, man. I'm not doing this with you tonight. You're gonna be like, what is they talking about in there? Yeah, Listen. Be a specialist. And I think when you become a specialist, then this ties back to being able to, when you become a specialist, I think it allows you to be able to create content just easier, because it's just what I do. right? Like if somebody asks me about workforce management, standing up a call center, forecasting, scheduling, like this is what I do. So me flipping on the camera on what I do, that's what I do. You know, and so then I'm able to connect with my audience, and back to what you're saying about driving that customer experience, right? Like, so if a company is really about driving the customer experience, and we're talking about like a contact center, being on TikTok with, hey, press this, and this to get to this thing, because that's what you do. You're here to serve the customer, right? That's 100%. Good stuff.
100%. And let the person who does the procedures for that stuff, or whoever is excited about doing whatever, because you got some people that it's just about maximizing, again, like letting people be in their area of gifting. And this is stuff that companies need to be researching and understanding. If you have somebody that is always on social media, always posting, always know the latest trends, and let them be the lead for the social media strategy for that department. See what they can do. Give them a 3-month trial run and see what they would do. Draft up whatever stuff. It's like, hey, is this new whatever challenge with the watermelon and the mustard, and let's go in the break room and we're going to see what everybody think. We're going to do a 60-second TikTok for whatever company. You know what I'm saying? Like, let them, they're on their phone, leverage that, leverage their interests. It's the best thing that your company can do, because it's already leveraging what they're into. So now, instead of being in trouble for being on their phone, you're encouraging them to do what they already do. And now they want to come to work. Yeah.
That's good stuff. Again, then driving that agent or employee experience, right? Like, I think the worst thing you can do is take somebody who have, a genius in a particular area and try to fit them in another area. It's like you're doing yourself and them a disservice, right? Because then I'm just here for the check. It's like, who is that? Marshawn Lynch? You already know what I'm here for. You know, like, I'm here for the check, right? Okay. Instead of actually being there, because this is what I love to do. So like when I'm in workforce roles, and when I was, in companies and I'm in workforce roles, you getting way more than 40 hours out of me, because this is what I love to do. You know, I'm tweaking a forecast, I'm tweaking it again, then I'm tweaking it again, because that's just what I love to do. So I think about when companies, maybe they have somebody who's really good at communication, written communication. You need to have them on the email team. Don't have them on the phone, because they clap back gonna be different.
Yeah, because it just, listen, they cutting
the customer in ways that they ain't supposed to even be talking to the customer like that. But that's what they do. They communicate, they use words, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's if companies are really trying to figure this out, like they really are interested, I recommend they get a book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And it talks about your zone of genius versus the zone of excellence, and the difference between them, because your zone of excellence is something that you're good at. Like, I was good at online banking stuff. Like, I could write the procedures, I could come up with new policies and stuff like that would change to increase efficiency. But I didn't like necessarily being there. I would have preferred being a teaching role. So in an education teaching space, which is all that I'm doing, I'm an educator. I'm just in the space of video, content marketing. But that teacher's gifting is still there, even when I was in corporate America. So you separate the difference between somebody's zone of excellence and the thing that they can do well, but it's not their zone of genius, which for me would be being an educator. And you let that person be in their zone of excellence. The problem is they'll do those Myers-Briggs assessment, they'll do the DISC assessment and the other stuff to figure out what kind of person they are, but they're not figuring out the difference of where's your zone of excellence and where's your zone of genius. My zone of excellence is being in those emails or where I could do it. Please don't put me on the phone ever with a customer. But my zone of excellence is being an educator. And so that if they can do that, leverage that, and really, leverage some of the things that's going on when it comes to social media content marketing, you're not only going to want more customers that want to do business with you, you'll have people wanting to work for your company because it looks fun.
And you know what? When you operate in that genius, what companies get from that is innovation, right? Like, that's the byproduct. Right. Like, if I'm doing this because I'm good at it, I'm getting off so I can go and do what I actually love to do. Right. Versus if I'm doing this because this is my genius, you getting all kinds of stuff on the house. Like, you paying me X amount of dollars, but you getting this kind of, because this is my lane of genius. I'm passionate about it. So now I'm innovating. Right.
100%.
And so when I think about it, like, so the banking world just lost you to video and when they could have really put you in training and development, right? Like if they put you in that realm, you probably would have been creating content, video, training video, all kinds of stuff.
That was what I said I wanted to do. I wanted to work in the marketing department. And it was just like, I just got tired of like, I don't feel like going over here to this department because you need to be and get in good with this person and then get these 2 skills that you could develop in 2 weeks. And then you go over here. It's just a long drawn. I'm like, I don't want to play the game no more. Yeah. It's like, I'm done. But I was already doing video content every day when I got off work. I was already making videos on YouTube. I started when I was working at the bank. So it was like, yeah, it's like they lost it, but so many other people in the world gave it. Yay. It's hard out here in these digital streets.
They lost you to the streets.
It's hard out here in these streets. Hey, it's hard for somebody. It's easy for me. Yeah.
But you know, when we think about that, I was commented on a post today. We're saying companies have to be more innovative with the type of employee types that they have. It's more than just full-time, part-time. You know, you got contractor, you have all these, like, you got to be kind of innovative because, again, people are now waking up and operating in their zone of genius. And if you're not leveraging that inside of your company, you're losing them to what their lane of genius is when you could be leveraging that lane of genius inside of your company. And as a byproduct, you're getting innovation on the house. Yeah.
So good. So good.
Yeah, that's real stuff right there, man. Listen, so I I'm not gonna keep you all night. I promise. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go. Tell me, if you had to leave me with a word of wisdom for the people, like what we can, this is a spinoff of Call Center Chronicles, and so we're talking to women in tech, normalizing women in tech and leadership roles. We're talking about customer experience and how we drive companies' bottom line by improving customer experience. What would your word of advice be? Word of wisdom?
I would say embrace the newest forms of communication as they become available. Because what happens is most people blame algorithms and different things that you'll see on social media for the reason why they can't connect with their people better. But if you embrace it sooner, if you look at the algorithm as the best communication tool, which is exactly what it is, and you leverage those newest forms. So if Instagram drops Reels 2.0, hop on Instagram Reels 2.0, because how people communicate on social will give you insight to what they're looking for when they're communicating on the phones, in the contact centers, or what, kind of different connection points and things like that. And I think that's going to be extremely vital as we are integrating the things that we do offline and bringing those things online and vice versa. And so it's when these new social media platform things come out, these features, it's just more ways to communicate. So if you can embrace those sooner, I think you can embrace newer and better ways to communicate with your customers and clients.
That's good stuff. Embrace the new ways to communicate, because the sooner you do that, right? The sooner you are starting to embrace those new ways that we can communicate and touch our customers, the better the customer experience is. The better that customer experience is, the higher we drive that bottom line. Really, it's what it boils down to. That's what it really boils down to. Well, thank you so much, Diana, for hanging out with me on tonight. Like, listen, we kicked off Firesides with a bang. And so I'm super honored that you came on, chatted with me tonight. I hope you had as much fun as I did. You see I'm rocking the Call Center Chronicles shirt, right?
I do. So, I see. Is that a product of Press and Soul?
You already know.
Oh,
you already know. You already know. It's no other way but to Press and Soul.
Okay. I heard that.
So yeah, I'm going to be sending you out one of these. So thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate that. Replay Squad, make sure that y'all, again, in the comments, let Diana know what you thought was valuable and how we can make sure that we are serving you better. All right. But Diana, hang out in the green room with me, and I'm going to wrap the show up real quick.
100%. I'll be here.
All right. Listen, is there anything else to say? Huh? Is there anything else to say? I don't think that there is. So, we talked to Diana Gladney tonight and had so many different gems that she dropped, getting involved in technology, removing some of those self-limiting beliefs of you being a woman in tech and that being an issue, right? I think that was one of the big things that stuck out to me, is that when she talked about, she typically, from male counterparts don't have that issue. And so that's one of the challenges, or I think roadblocks, that we as women create for ourselves. It's like, hey, I'm a woman in tech, so that's the thing. No, it don't really have to be. You just need to show up and know your stuff. And I think that hopefully that's enough. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate you. Make sure that you come back. July 15th is our next Fireside Chat. But before then, season 2 is kicking off. So season 2 is kicking off July 6th. Okay. That's Tuesday. We're going to be live on a Tuesday at 11 a.m. We have, again, like I said, a fire show lined up for you guys for season 2. So I'm super excited for season 2 happening, kicking off July 6th. So make sure that you head over to the site, solidrockco.net/CCC, where you'll see some of season 1, all of the replays there. Catch up, make sure that you know what we're talking about, because I'm telling you, season 2, it's going to be next level, people. It's going to be next level. All right, guys. Until next time, Juanita Coley signing off. Bye.